Live. Welcome back to another episode of the Baseline Bums podcast. It's your host, Rob, aka B-Ball Archives. And once again, I got the bum AJ up in the casa. And usually we're talking some Spurs basketball, and we will be later today, so don't you worry. But right now, right here, right now, the trade deadline just ended hours
Yep.
ago. And there's a lot to break down. There is just a bevy of trades, over a couple of dozen to be exact, and it's just hard to wrap your mind around all this. So, um, let's just start with some of the big ones. AJ, where do you want to start when we look at some of these bigger trades?
I mean, I think we have to start with James Harden, right? Like, I guess maybe go West Coast, East Coast, something like that to that effect, because the James Harden trade was kind of out of nowhere. I wasn't really expecting them to be looking to flip him, and then on top of that, they went and flipped Zubac too. So you're going, okay, what are the Clippers? Do they even know what they're doing right now? Because you went from being at the beginning of the season one of the oldest teams in the NBA. You got rid of your number two guy. You got rid of your really kind of your only big man. So what are you doing? I'm just kind of confused with like kind of what they're up to over there in LA. But what'd you think about that? Like, did you expect that to happen? Because I sure as hell didn't.
I mean, I'm not gonna sit up here and say that I'm shocked that James Harden requested a trade and then is on a
Fair.
different team right now. Like I'm not gonna act like he hasn't, done that to Houston, Brooklyn, Philly, like literally name a team he's done that. And
Right.
so I'm not really super surprised, but I'm just surprised at the personnel that are existing in this trade. It really I didn't understand it from a Cleveland perspective,
Right.
if I'm being honest, because Darius Garland is a guy that over the last couple of years has had a lot of value, and he has that lingering toe issue from last year. It's hindering a lot of his explosiveness, a lot of what makes him a good player. His value is now at an all-time low, and I don't think that the return you want is a 35-year-old James Harden.
Right.
And I think that a lot of what they have and a lot of what they do is the same thing. You're talking about a negative player on defense, even though I think Darius Garland somehow is worse than James Harden on defense, because
Ooh.
Darius Garland, like, he gets attacked almost as much as like Luca does on defense. When you
Yeah.
look at guys that are just like, hey, I'm gonna go after this dude that's 6'1", 170 pounds soaking wet. So he gets attacked a lot. So I understand when you look at the limitations, the injury frustrations. So I can understand why you'd want to get rid of him if you're Cleveland, but why now? Why
Yeah.
not? Why not last season when he was balling out? Or why not 2, 3 months from now when he's healthy and you're able to like create a little value for him? I just don't get it. Why now?
Yeah, and especially with how open the East is with like I mean, you're right there. Like there's, if you go against the Knicks, that's kind of your only big competition. Like you can talk about the Sixers, I guess, but with the Sixers, it's kind of like I don't know what to think of them anymore. PG's out for 25 games. I don't know if I can trust Joel Embiid. I mean, Maxi's obviously can carry that team, but they also just traded Jared McCann, which was I wasn't expecting that at all. It's a second year player, and you traded him like your lottery pick, you traded that guy too. I don't know, man. It's just been a lot of just like kind of head scratching moments, and I don't really like. I guess I lose. I always forget that we are very lucky as Spurs fans to have competent people in our front office that actually like plan things out and understand like if this domino falls, then this domino falls with it, and then and everyone kind of like understands this like this where we're going. For some of these teams, I'm just like, what are you doing? Like I don't know what you're doing, and it feels like some of these teams are just making trades to make trades at this point. That's
Yeah,
that's kind of how I feel.
that's largely what I felt as well. And just kind of staying with this Darius Garland, James Harden just for a little bit. Yeah, like I think it was Cleveland essentially saying, we're trying to capitalize on this open East right now. I just don't really feel like it's the right move because
Right.
if I'm asking ourselves who's going to get us over that playoff hump, and your answer is James Harden, I would just ask, hey, look at the last decade or so of basketball and ask yourself which situation in the playoffs has James Harden stepped up? And the answer is rarely, if ever. And I just think from a lot of things, from a personnel standpoint, you traded like an on ball guy who's negative on defense for an on ball guy who's negative on defense and significantly older. It's just, yeah, it just, to your point, it just didn't make sense. And that was a lot of the theme of what I saw on trade deadline was just a lot of moves that just sped up a lot of teams towards mediocrity.
Right. And I mean, speaking of that, we were talking about before you hit record, the Bulls. Like what are the Bulls doing? You got rid of Kobe White, which is I don't know. For me personally, like Kobe White's one of those guys that can come in, third string or so, and kind of keep you guys afloat as you're progressing and stuff like that. And like he's not going to be an all star or anything like that, but he's a great, solid player. Like he's great on defense. He can probably shut down James Harden, to be honest with you. But you trade away him, and then you trade away Vucevic, and you're still the smallest team in the NBA. Like you didn't get any bigger. Like you got smaller, if that's even possible, with Anthony Simmons. And also, Simmons can't play defense. Like
Yeah.
we were looking at him last year whenever they were looking at trades for him, and he just got moved to the Celtics. Celtics moved him over because he can't play defense. And when you wear the green and white, you got to play defense for that crazy coach. So, I just, like I said, I think this year is just, we're moving just to move. I think that was the theme this year. I think last year was let's move because there's some good opportunities out there. And this year's just like, and I mean, I know we're probably gonna jump around a lot just because there's just so much insanity. Like, I mean,
Well, I do want to make sure we
yeah,
dive into
please.
the all-star trades though first before
Yeah,
we
yeah,
just
yeah,
start
yeah.
jumping around. I do want
So
to
you
make
don't want to
sure.
get into Jock
No,
Lando like getting
no,
traded?
no. I want to. In fact, I want to wrap up. If we're done talking about like James Harden,
Hmm.
Darius Garland, we let's
Yeah.
move on to maybe Anthony Davis. Let's
Oh
talk
yeah,
about
yeah, for
yeah,
sure,
yeah. Let's yap a little bit about the
dude.
AD trade.
I
Um,
I forgot about the Anthony Davis trade because there's been so much going on today.
Right. Well, I mean, there's a lot of like small little pieces, but like when I look at like the players who are making just huge chunks of money and who are just like significant figures within a team's landscape, like Anthony Davis is one of those players, and um is it's just weird to see him in a Wizards jersey. Like I just don't really picture it. And I know the Wizards didn't have to give up a ton to get him. So maybe the fit will work potentially, but what are you seeing kind of after the landscape of this Anthony Davis trade?
Well, Anthony Davis played 29 games with the Mavs. Like he played 29 games with the Mavericks and he was there a year, and maybe some change or whatever, but he played 29 games with them. How can you even evaluate Flag, Kyrie and AD never played a game together? Like how can you evaluate and move on from something that you did? Now, granted, I understand that the Mavs are in this weird place as an organization and they're trying to move stuff and whatnot, and I get it. And they also cleared a whole bunch of cap space. But do we really trust the Mavs to take that $70 million of cap space and actually do something with it?
Nope.
Exactly. I see that organization just pocketing it and going, maybe we can get more of these little first round picks. So they did get a couple picks with it as well. Um, for me, Anthony Davis is just he's damaged goods. He's past his prime. He hasn't been good since the bubble. I'm not going to sit up here and tell you that he's this worldly guy because I just don't see him as that person anymore. Him and Trey Young could work out in a very open East if he decides to come back this year, or if they want to do something next year. I mean, that I'm very curious to see what the Wizards do now. I mean, I think the Wizards came out on top in a lot of ways because they made that trade for Trey Young. You got to keep Alex Sarr. You have AD. You know, can they put something together and actually win some games and go back to the old Wizards of Gilbert Arenas and Antoine Jameson? Maybe, maybe, but we'll see kind of what happens. They're still the Wizards at the end of the day.
Yeah, the Wizards do be wizarding. Uh, but there was a lot of people that were just saying like, "Oh, dude, the Wizards, they're looking great now. They're looking so good." And I'm like, "Yeah, on paper, I can see how you jump to that conclusion, and it's like, why not go after Anthony Davis?" But I'm also thinking, why would you go after Anthony Davis? It's like,
Right,
he's getting 50 something mil next year, over 60 million the following year. And it's like a guy that is probably going to give you very limited availability while simultaneously demanding a lot of the offensive presence. And
yeah,
he's gonna maybe limit some of the production from Alex Sarr, maybe like hindering some of his growth. And maybe, there's a lot of young mouths to feed, whether it's like, Trey Johnson, Bilal Koulibaly. Like, I really like
right,
Bub Carrington and Keyshawn Johnson, Keyshawn George. And I really enjoy a lot of what I think these young players are going to turn
of
into. It's like,
course,
and
of
you know,
course,
I think Trey Young made sense because he was gonna facilitate for those young players, but Anthony Davis, I just don't really know how he fits into all this financially, from a team perspective. It just doesn't necessarily make sense to me. And I think even, like, best case scenario, and I saw that they were gonna do this, they're gonna sit Trey Young, they're gonna sit Anthony Davis for the rest of the season, just absolutely go full tank mode, try to get a good draft piece in this draft because it's loaded. If you can get a top 4
right,
pick, then you actually have a reasonable core to do something with over the next 2, maybe 3 years. But
sure.
man, you are banking on Anthony Davis's health at that point while simultaneously paying him 50 something, $60 million a year. It's like, that's just never a good idea.
No, no, it's not. And I mean, I so one of the things that obviously yesterday the Spurs Thunder game started at 8:30, but we had to watch Knicks versus Nuggets, right? For the last bit of the game before the other game started. So one thing I noticed is that Mitchell Robinson is a son of a bitch, dude. That dude he gave Jokic a lot of trouble last night down low. And I do think that the big man in the East, if you go up against Joel Embiid, if you go against a Mitchell Robinson, a Bam Adebayo, one of those guys, I don't know if Anthony Davis can last an entire series with those people physically, like just physically, because he's made of paper. I mean, that the infamous clip of him playing 2K and playing himself on 2K and getting hurt is probably one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life.
Oh,
So,
yeah, but
you know,
accurate.
yeah, it's super accurate. So, we'll see kind of where they end up and what happens and all that. But I guess if you're the Wizards, you have a lot to look forward to. I mean, here in the next your window though is 2-3 years, unless you can get off the Anthony Davis contract. But even then, like you're not. It's a very short window unless you hit on one of these draft picks.
Absolutely. Yeah, like, you bring in, like, AJ, you know, you bring in Cam Boozer. It's like, you can really change your landscape with some of these young players.
Of course,
And that's a really, really good young core. But I also see Anthony Davis playing very limited minutes, being stuck on the Wizards bench, getting paid
right?
$60 million a year, and they're just
Oh
scratching their
man,
head like, "Fuck, why did we do this 2 years
yeah,
ago?" And you're like, it all looked good on paper, and it looked like we were buying Anthony Davis at low because we were giving up a couple picks that really weren't ours. And it just, yeah, it just really, to me, I think they will end up trying to race their rebuild a little bit quicker than it should have been, when they should have just kept Trey Young, let him build up those players offensively we were talking about earlier, and just kind of grow organically.
yeah, man. Speaking of organically and growing, I I know I kind of said this earlier. I just feel that a lot of teams just gave up on their young talent just really quickly. And we're sitting here as Spurs fans going, we still got Jeremy Sohan. Like, why can't we do that? But a lot of teams start like, I've seen Walter Clayton Jr. get traded in that Triple J uh, move. Like, that's crazy to me. Like, that dude's a straight winner, and he was one of the reasons why the Jazz beat us in December. So, I'm just sitting here going, why'd you give up on a guy like that when you can keep him on your squad and really use him as like a seventh, eighth man type guy? Especially when you need a guard. You really need a guard in Utah, bad. Like, I know Keontae George is a great player, but you got three big men now that you got to feed, and who's going to facilitate that? So, I guess if you don't mind moving over to the Grizzlies, Jazz trade, Triple J finds himself wearing Utah jersey now. Super crazy. Did not see that coming. I knew there were some rumblings. We all heard Ja, but I didn't hear anything about Triple J, Jaren Jackson Jr., for those of you who need to know.
Right. Yeah, I think he was always going to be on the trading block. I felt like Memphis really they understood that this was a very flawed core that they had, just based around 2 superstars that have such key flaws to their games. Like, I like Triple J, but man, I would not want him in San Antonio. He does
Right.
not rebound nearly as aggressively as a big man should. I see him shy away from contact. Like, so many things that I know would frustrate me as somebody that wants to see my power forward slash center
Right.
be just more assertive. And so I look at this move in him going to the Jazz and uh you know I see a front court with him and Laurie Markkinen as like one of the worst rebounding front courts in the entire league, and you are paying them $100 million through 2029.
Yeah.
So it's like, good luck, Utah.
And you make that move when you're what, at the number 12th, 11th in the West?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily get it. And earlier we were talking about there's a lot of teams that just seem like they're just rushing to be mediocre, and this is also one of them. It just seems like a team that just is like, we're tired of not having an identity. We're going to go get a couple of guys that give us a little bit of an identity, but your identity is going to be being 500, stuck in purgatory,
Yep.
never getting the lottery pick, but also never getting considered to be a contender. It's like
Yeah.
yeah, you're in no man's land.
No, no. And I mean, it's interesting too because the Jazz also gave 3 first round picks to Memphis in that trade. Now we're looking at 8 players plus 3 picks. Like, that's insane. Like 4 and then 3 picks for what they gave up. Now I don't even know. I don't know what Memphis is doing. I don't know what the Jazz are doing, but at least Memphis has 3 first round picks that they can say that they got for Jaren Jackson, which is way more than what the Mavs got for Luka.
Right. Absolutely. Well, and to your point earlier, I think that there is still some development to Walter Clayton Jr. and Taylor Hendricks. I also am a big fan of him as well. So I think
Sure.
that those are two decent gets for Memphis in return. And yeah, I don't really love the I don't love the value that Triple J gives you, even though you can like point to him and he's like, oh, he's a DPOY winner.
Depoy,
And
yeah.
yeah, it's like, yeah, but he's also going to get you 5 rebounds a game. And I was very against, him getting the depoy because so much of defense is defensive rebounding. And he is a terrible defensive rebounder, like one of the worst when you actually look at his minutes, how much time he spends in the paint. It's like, dude, yeah, he doesn't rebound like that. So I just feel like, you know, if Walker Kessler is going to have to snag 16 of them bitches a night if they're going to win the rebounding battle.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I guess one thing I forgot because there's been again so many trades. Lonzo Ball ends up on the Utah Jazz. Forgot about that. And I mean, I don't know if his knees are going to be able to hold up in that climate slash elevation, but if they do, I mean, he could have himself a good little run in post injury career type thing. But I don't see that happening.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like whenever he went to Cleveland last season and was essentially trying to do that same thing, was, getting in shape, revitalizing his career. He looked a step slow on defense, wasn't able to guard people at his position. So like, I love the thought of Lonzo Ball stepping in there and facilitating and kind of spreading the
Yeah.
rock in Utah, but I'm also not buying that either.
No. Speaking of kind of lost a step, Chris Paul.
He's a Raptor.
I don't know if he's gonna play, or if it's gonna be a Carmelo Anthony, like, Hawks jersey type situation, like, or like I don't know what they're thinking. The fact that Brooklyn got Abaji, I think is pretty great. I mean, that dude is a stone cold shooter. I think he got left out in the dust during his time, because when he was at Kansas, dude was knocked down scorer, like three lever scorer, really, really good 3-point shooter. And I think Brooklyn kind of found themselves in a like, oh shit, look who we got kind of moment. Because in that same timeline, they waived Cam Thomas. So I would imagine he's going to be the replacement for Cam Thomas.
Yeah, I mean, he certainly could. I think I mean, obviously, I don't think Brooklyn wants to replace what Cam Thomas did. Like, he was just a high volume scorer that didn't give a shit about anyone else in the offense, and
That's
I I
fair.
thi I mean, dude, I like Cam Thomas. He's a walking bucket, but I've seen him literally look off players that are wide ass open to take a shot with 2 defenders on him, and I'm like, "You're just a selfish basketball player," and I I like his skill set, but I don't want him on my team. Uh,
Yeah.
but
So
yeah, there's so much to get into. What other trade do you want to jump over to? Does it make sense to maybe talk about Porzingis going to Golden State?
yeah, I thought that was a curveball trade, man. It's a
Yeah,
super curveball trade.
it
Not
not
expecting
only
that one.
it not only gave Golden State some rim protection, again, it's one of those like, is he gonna play? It's kind of like in that same Anthony Davis ballpark where how many games are you gonna get from Porzingis? If you get 25, this trade shit the bed. But if he ends up playing 55, next season, then
Yeah,
all right, not too bad. But ultimately, I think you needed to fill that void while simultaneously ending the Jonathan Kuminga saga that
absolutely.
that was just drawing on way, way,
Way too
way
long.
too long.
Well, and going to that too. We still and we'll get back to the trade here in a second, but a lot of the things that I thought they were just going to like, all right, we're going to end this drama. We're going to move on to chapter 2 or whatever. Dude, we're still sitting here. Jaw's still a Grizzly. Giannis is still a Buck. Draymond's still a Warrior. Like all these different people that I heard were on the move or wanted to get traded, are still there.
Yeah, I I
Nothing
think
happened.
I think that's also a very good talking point is the fact that I think Giannis was approached a lot. I think he was approached by just about everyone in the league, and everyone
I
wanted to
Dude, I
see.
heard Texas Tech went at him too.
He's got his eligibility. But I think the asking price from Milwaukee was kind of murky, and they didn't really make it known. And so I think maybe they were just asking for a mountain of gold for
Yeah,
Giannis, and no one was really willing to play ball with a guy that, you know, Giannis has the leverage in this situation. So
sure.
it's just kind of difficult for teams to, make that deal with a player that has that much leverage. But I also think, yeah, it wasn't too surprising that Ja didn't get traded, because if I was an NBA GM, I wouldn't want to touch Ja with the 50-foot pole. I mean, if we're talking about
Not even a
the
50 caliber.
right, yeah, seriously. Yeah, like everything from the off-court antics that we're talking about right now to just his play on the court, like one of the least efficient mid-range seasons in NBA
Yep.
history. He's going to the rim at a shorter at a decreased rate, going to the line less. It's like all of this stuff leads me to not wanting Ja on my team. So I'm not surprised that a team didn't try to, change their identity to go get him. But I also heard a couple of rumors that Milwaukee did try to go after Ja to pair him with Giannis. That would have been
Why
kind of
not?
weird to me.
Why? I mean, why not? Like, I mean, with all the craziness that we've seen and some of the pairings that we have, like, why not? Like, you got to do something because watching the Bucks play basketball is depressing. It's honestly depressing. That team looks like just so demoralized. They don't want to be there. Giannis is barely there. His brother is playing full quarters in the second half. Like it's a depressing scene for sure. So I would love to see some of these sagas come to an end. Like Ja and Giannis are the two that obviously stick out the most. I would love to see, Bam on a new team. I just want to see like all these rumors and things that we've been seeing, all the smoke to just end. And that includes us too with Jeremy Sohan and Kelly Olynyk. Both those guys that, all this smoke around, oh, what are the Spurs going to do? Blah, blah, blah. Get rid of them. But also, I'm glad that they're not just getting rid of them just to do it, and that we're actually like, hey, we want something in return for this. So shout out to Senor Fleece.
Absolutely. Yeah, don't just get swept in all the trade deadline madness if you don't have a good move to do. And I think, we were talking about it a little bit earlier, but like, make a trade for trade's sake, letting Sohan walk for nothing, which is essentially better. And I think, if you can't make a trade that makes sense, then we just let him walk in the offseason. As
Yeah.
shitty as that sounds, as crappy as that sounds, it's better than stepping into a deal that we're not 100% about,
Yeah.
bringing a player that doesn't fit all over again, and then we restart the cycle. That sounds worse to me.
So for me, I know all right. Spurs fans, take this with a grain of salt if you want to. I have my own problems with Jeremy Sohan. But here's the thing. We can't get rid of nothing for nothing. Like Jeremy Sohan hasn't done anything for the NBA in what 2.5 seasons, I would want to say. And all I hear the entire time is potential, potential, potential. Well, he's in his fourth year, and I haven't seen that potential. He's no longer that defensive person that he was coming out of college. He still can't shoot the damn ball. His shot's broken, and
Well,
you
I mean, I have some pushback to some of this, but like is this like a rant that like we're just anti Sohan, or is this we
no,
just
no, no,
we don't want him on the team
no,
anymore?
no. It's a rant on why we didn't get anything back for Sohan.
All right, solid.
Because there's a famous Janet Jackson song called "What Have You Done for Me Lately," and that's something that Jeremy hasn't done. He hasn't done shit for anyone lately. And you can come out with all your summer shooting videos all you want. That's fine. But when you can't do it in a game and you have opportunities to show us what you can do in a game and you are out there for 10 minutes and you have 4 fouls, that's not good. Like if I'm looking at the back of your jersey and you're turning the ball over and you're fouling on top of that, like I can't trade you for anything. And we're talking about potential, 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 potential. But hey, man, at some point, you guys should have get out the pot. So it's we're 4 years into this. He's not seeing the floor. He hasn't even suited up. And whenever he's not suited up, he's being a nuisance on the bench. Like they were doing smelling salts the other day. So I'm kind of like I'm just over this Jeremy Sohan experiment. And honestly, dude, a lot of lottery picks don't work out, and it's okay. And we just find ourselves, hey, we tried, we experimented, it didn't work out. We put him in weird positions, and that's definitely on the Spurs for trying to make him a point guard. But also at the end of the day, he's still an undersized four.
Right. I mean, I'm all with a lot of the points you were saying, and I do think, yeah, like if he was more valuable defensively, we would still need to keep him on our team, but he is a step slow from what we were seeing previously. So it's hard to justify, hey, we're gonna really make things happen financially to make space for you. But also he has enough value to where we're not just going to ship him out for nothing. And if we do let him walk, he's not valuable enough to where we're going to really, really miss him,
Right.
to be brutally honest. So it's like he's kind of in this in between area. And I like his skill set, but I also feel like, yeah, we brought it up many times. He just doesn't fit what we need our fours to be doing right now, and that's just giving us more space.
Yep.
And yeah, if he's not able to shoot while simultaneously not being as potent of a point of attack defender as he was, then he just doesn't really have a spot for us on our team. But I also do think we did a lot of mismanagement with his early
For sure.
career. And,
Oh, for
you know,
sure. Yeah.
a lot of that is on us. But at the same time, you need to
Dude,
be developing individual skills outside of
right.
how you're fitting with the team.
Like, dude, the fact that we came into this season going, Jeremy Sohan shooting free throws with two hands. Like, I mean, that was the excitement of Jeremy Sohan. So for me, I know that, whenever we're talking about his contract over the summer, that, how much money do you think he's gonna be worth? Dude, I don't know how much he's worth now. I really don't. Like, I don't know if he's worth that, 18 million or 20 million or 15 or 10. Like, I have no idea what his worth is, unless, I mean, someone's probably gonna want to pay him, but I know it's not gonna be in San Antonio, because at the end of the day, dude, you gotta play with number one. And if you can't play with number one, you're not going to be on the team.
Yeah, and we are not going to allocate $20 million for Jeremy Sohan when he's fitting in the way he's fitting in. And I really can't see any team paying that much for him at this point. And I really I really honestly think that it might be the worst thing it might not be the worst thing in the world to just let him walk. But
Yeah.
man, I really do. Man, I really wish we would have found a way to dish him at least for some kind of draft capital. Um, but the Jeremy Sohan saga continues. We'll see where he ends up or if he's a Spur for much longer.
Yep.
But we've got some additional trades to get to. I'm trying to think of where to go from here. I guess, maybe Luke Kennard going to the Lakers. I don't know.
Sure.
I The only reason I
I
do
don't
wanna
hate
bring
it.
I don't hate it either, and the only reason I do wanna bring it up is because Luke Kennard is right in the middle of one of the most efficient shooting seasons I've ever seen. He's
Yeah.
he's almost 50% from 3, 92% from the line. He
God, you're
may
like a great
have
Spur.
he exactly. I was like, "Dude, I really wanted him in San Antonio." He may be having one of the most statistically efficient shooting seasons in NBA history. And, the volume isn't there. He's not like putting up 20 a game,
Right.
but
But you
uh,
don't need him to.
no, no, he's putting up
And
like 8, 9 a game. That's
all you
that's the sweet
that's
spot.
all you need. And put him on a team with Luca, dude, he's gonna he's gonna find plenty of opportunities. No one's gonna care about him in the corner, and Luca's gonna have 15 assists and he's gonna have 20 points. You watch. Like, it's gonna happen. I thought that was a really good trade for the Lakers. I think that's gonna be one that we look back on going, oh, this is when they kind of figured it out.
Oh
Because
yeah.
then it
Well,
also allows you to get DeAndre Ayton off the floor too.
absolutely, yes. It gives you some, lineup versatility, and dude, Gabe Vincent was not fitting in LA. He was a terrible sign. I know they wanted him to essentially do what Gabe Vincent was doing for that Miami team a couple of years, but he just clearly isn't the same player, and Luke Kennard is a huge step in the right direction, but obviously, we don't wanna see LA doing positive things. We don't want to see them improving via the
I still think
trade,
we
but
I still think we kick their ass no matter what.
oh, absolutely. I think so as well. I think but like it's just I don't want to see our rivals getting these interesting pieces to their teams because I could see,
Yeah. He,
us playing the Lakers in a series and then all of a sudden Luke Kennard goes off
yeah.
for 19, 20 points and it's like shit, they just won game 4 because of Luke Kennard. And it's like I could see it. Um,
What's interesting is that I don't know if the Lakers are the whitest team in the NBA now, but they're definitely up there.
that Tres Leches graphic I sent you with with him, Luca and AR, that's
Dude,
funny.
and then you add JJ Redick and all Drew Timmy and all those other dudes to the team. Like, yeah, man, like that is a that is a definitely white team you got over there. One trade I kind of want to get into just a little bit is the Pelicans traded Jose Alvarado to the Knicks, and I love that trade. I think it's exactly what the Knicks need. I think it's perfect for their what they want and what they have. It relieves some of the defensive pressure from Brunson. It makes them a lot more quicker. He's not going to do much for them offensively, but if he needs to make a 3-pointer, he can do so. If he needs to, like, steal, I will say this: Madison Square Garden is going to absolutely go ape shit if he goes and gets like 4 steals in 4 minutes or whatever. So it's going to be fun to watch. And I do think that he will win them a few games in the playoffs just because he's a nuisance. And when you, especially if you're playing like a young guard that isn't really used to like someone beating in the jersey like that, I think he can really frustrate some people. And like I said, I think the biggest thing for them is they just got a little bit deeper point guard wise, and Brunson doesn't have to play 40 minutes for them to be successful.
That's a really good point. I think that they needed some defensive toughness in that backcourt. He gives you a lot of that, and also I think Deuce McBride is out for the rest of the season with an injury. With he's having surgery, so it's like that opens up a lot of backcourt minutes, and all of a sudden you have Jose Alvarado who can really play 18, 20 minutes a game, give you some really good defense, spell some of those Brunson
Yep.
defensive responsibilities. And yeah, I think it makes sense. It makes a lot of sense if you're New York and all you had to give up was Dalen Terry, two
Who?
second round draft picks and a little bit of cash. And well, I actually don't mind Dalen Terry's game a lot. It's just he's not a guy that I see developing into much. So I think you just go with the fit, and this fit
Yeah.
fits really well.
Yeah, for sure. Um, Zubac to the Pacers. I think that's great. I think that's fantastic, actually. When Hallie comes back next year, that's going to be a good duo. That's going to be a really good duo. And Zubac knows his role. He's not going to branch out much to the 3-point line, and he's going to be down low. And I think that's going to just make them a lot more of a balanced team in the future. Now they got to get there because Hallie's not coming back, and they're not winning very much right now. So it's going to take time for them to get back. But once they do, I think that's something to look forward to next year.
Absolutely. They needed a big. I mean, obviously, no Miles Turner in Indiana anymore. It's, front court minutes are wide open for somebody to
Right.
just kind of step in. They shipped out Isaiah Jackson, young front court player, really wasn't fitting in, and also they sent Benedict Mathurin to the Clippers, who uh, there's definitely times where in the
Hot and cold.
postseason. Yeah, exactly. He's stepped up and really been big for them offensively, but also he's like a high volume scorer. And I just view him as like not necessary to what Indiana was doing. And they needed a big that they can rely on, set screens with Halliburton, and really just run that pick and roll
Yeah.
with their most dynamic player. And Zubac is going to give you that for sure.
Yeah, and with Benedict too, like he helped them get to the finals, but then you got to the finals and he John Cena hard. So like that's kind of what happened. But I think Zubac definitely knows how to play his role, and I think the Clippers are kind of silly to get rid of him. I wouldn't have done that personally because I just love his game. I would love Zubac on the Spurs next to Wimby, but we have Luke Cornett, so we don't need him. But at the same time, like it's like we started this podcast with I don't know what the Clippers are doing. I guess we'll see how it all kind of unfolds, but it's kind of hard to lead a team when you don't have a leader. Like who's going to lead that team? Who's going to put them over the edge and get them into like a playoff spot and make a run and stuff? Because it's sure as hell not going to be Kawhi Leonard. It's not going to be Chris Paul. It's not going to be
No.
James Harden. Like, it's not going to be Zubac. Like, who's your leader now?
Well, I think this is the Clippers diving hard into a rebuild, and then like kind of like after the start to the season they had is it was kind of like, all right, this core can't do what we thought they could do. And I think the front office came to that realization pretty soon, and that's why you see them dish Zubats and they get those 2 first-round picks, the second-round pick, and they're playing the game. How can we just start accumulating draft capital right
Sure.
now and keep their young guards? And also, they have a 26-year-old Darius Garland who's going to be healthy next season. And I don't think that's a bad place to start around your offense. Build up a shitload of draft capital, keep your young talent, and then just start over because you made multiple bad choices and you kind of just have to live with it because you also may be facing sanctions from the league and a
True.
bunch of other bullshit. So there may be more dominoes to fall
It's a good
here.
point. Well,
Yeah.
it's just it's wild that like the Clippers front office were like, wait, you mean our team that's over 30 years old isn't going to work out? What are you talking about?
And the
It's like, dude,
irony is Kawhi's playing some of the best basketball he's ever played. Like
yeah,
he's playing phenomenally, scoring like his highest points per game he's ever averaged, and a really good efficiency, and his point of attack defending looks like he actually cares about it now. But after all this happens, like I can't imagine that he's gonna have the same tenacity. Yeah.
I doubt it. I doubt it. But all in all, it was a very hectic and chaotic. We didn't even get to the tip of the iceberg on some of these. We didn't even talk about the people that were waived and all that. But I guess shout out to Malachi Branham to find himself in the news again. Um, you know, former Spur, now he's on the Mavs. Um, see how
Well,
that works out, I guess.
he got he got traded again.
Oh shit.
He got he got traded again. He's now on the Hornets. He was traded for Tyus Jones straight up.
I hope he gets run. I hope he gets run, dude. He's a former Ohio Player of the Year. Like, just give him some run, dog. Just give him some run. Hopefully, he can figure it out. I know he can shoot when he gets on, but like, just it's so weird. I have no idea what to think about this NBA. We got All-Star game coming up. Super Bowl's on Sunday. I mean, it's just that time in February where we're going. Just get us Spurs. Get to the playoffs. Get to the playoffs.
Right. There's just a lot going on, and we just need to hone in, lock in, not get swept up in all this trade deadline craziness and just focus in on what we need to get done. Yeah, I'm just kind of combing through some of these trades, just making sure that there was nothing crazy that we didn't yap about. But yeah, the vast majority of these we did talk about. It's super weird seeing Mike Conley in a different jersey.
Again.
Well, I mean, yes, but like I feel like we've seen him be a Grizzly for such such a
He was on
long
the
time.
Timberwolves.
Yeah, yeah, Timberwolves. Yeah, that's right. He's on the T Wolves for such a long time that
Where's he going
um
now?
he's Charlotte.
God damn it.
It's
I
crazy.
dude, you're
It's absolutely crazy that we're seeing so many of these guards change places, and it's almost like we were saying earlier, how many teams are going to race to be mid? Like either we're talking about Jared McCain on the move earlier, Kobe White, Mike Conley, Colin Sexton going to the Bulls. It's like these identities just keep shifting too quickly.
yeah. So how do you even build a team around, these moving pieces and whatnot? But that's kind of my biggest thing is like how do you continue to go in the right direction? Because it just feels like everyone's just there. So, you know, I'm glad the Spurs didn't really get into any of that gunk because I think we have better and bigger things to worry about. So moving forward, happy with it. We'll see kind of what happens with us, but I think the next 2K update is going to take a pretty long time.
Yeah, dude. Oh yeah. Oh, dude, one thing we have to talk about because it did come up in the group chat is Rob Dillingham.
Oh yeah, that whole mess of a situation. Yeah, man, let's talk about him. Let's talk about Rob Dillingham, please.
Well, I mean, I just think it was funny. Not too long ago, a member of the podcast, Adam, was saying, "Hey, it would be a catastrophic failure if we didn't take Rob Dillingham with our pick, back in the draft, or in the lottery." So it's interesting to see him kind of getting dished in a deal as like an add-on, as like a
Right.
side piece kind of player. So it's interesting. You can go from like people viewing you as one of the most dynamic offensive options in a draft to being kind of an afterthought almost.
Yeah, and it just goes back to being at the right place at the right time, getting drafted by the right team. Because whenever we traded him to the Timberwolves, I was like, how is he gonna play? Like, how is he gonna see the floor? Because Anthony Edwards was there, DiVincenzo was there, like all these other people were like Conley was there. Like, how is he gonna get on the floor? He's still undersized. I mean, he's quick as shit. His jumper needs a lot of work, but he's a good talent and he has a lot of upside, and he still does. But if you're not seeing the floor and you're getting in on garbage time, and then Terrence Shannon's getting more minutes than you are, like you're not going to see the floor. And for the Spurs to make that move now, when we made that move, we traded for, was it first round in 2031? I want to say 31. So
I think
that
so.
kid is now a ninth grader. So that's good. So we can finally see some footage of him at AAU tournaments, whoever that is. But
Right.
I know a lot of people the day of the draft were very upset. It's a very knee jerk reaction, but we talked about it too. If we were going to build a team around Wimby, we can't have 2 first round picks that close to 2 lottery picks, because then that just screws up the books completely. And I'm glad that we didn't do that. And now we know that we're going to have to probably max out Steph Castle, I mean, and Wimby back to back years. So I'm glad that we don't have to deal with that. And on looking back too, if we got Rob Dillingham, would we have Dylan Harper? Because I think Dylan Harper's already a better player than Rob Dillingham is, and he fits our rotation perfectly.
Oh, he's miles ahead of what Rob Dillingham offers. He's super comfortable in the NBA, and Rob at times looks like he's he's quick enough and he's talented enough to be in the NBA, but he just doesn't look confident enough. And it just is
Right.
really it's really interesting to see a guy that was just had loads of swag and confidence in college not really have that in the pros. So it's a
And once
little
again,
bit.
just sometimes lottery picks just don't work out, man. And it happens.
Yeah. Yeah. It certainly happens. Some of the other interesting trade deadline takeaways is the Heat make 0 trades.
Thought that was interesting too.
Right. It was one of the teams where I was like, "Okay, the Heat are about to make a splash." I was like, "They need to make a big move." And it was like, not a single move. "We're gonna be like the Spurs. We're not doing a damn thing." I'm like, well, damn, we're sitting at second in the West, so we can kind of confidently sit back on our team and be like, all
Exactly.
right, we like what we're doing over here. But yeah, the Heat exactly like I'm not understanding like how you're viewing your position at seventh in the East and kind of may not make the playoffs, and you're like, yeah, we don't need to make a move. We're good.
Right. Yeah, man. You know what? I'm gonna say something. I think at some point, if the Spurs wanted to, I don't know if we can afford him, to be honest with you. I haven't looked at the numbers, so it's just me spitballing at this point. So grain of salt. I think Pascal Siakam would be a really good Spur.
Yeah, I could see a world where he could be a good Spur from a skill set standpoint. I still
Yeah,
think he's paid too much money to be on our
right.
team right now.
Yeah, I think he's worth a little too much, but I would like someone like that. And then I thought it was interesting during up until the trade deadline, we all heard rumblings about Karl Anthony Towns getting potentially traded. Um, I didn't understand that one.
Yeah, I don't understand it either. I mean, I don't like his contract to begin with. He's making a lot of money.
A
He's
lot of
making
money.
he's making mid 60s, and
I mean, you
I
have
think
to in New York. His apartment's probably like 2,500 square feet.
right. Most of that just probably goes to just to his mortgage, but it's a situation where I think, yeah, it's he has so much value and so much talent, but I also I view that as a really hard contract to get rid of. And while I think it was a win for both teams, I think Minnesota was really excited to not have to pay him a lot of that contract.
Yeah, I bet. I bet.
Yeah,
So we'll see what happens, man. But I guess Google all the trade fiasco that happened up until today. Because, dude, Underdog tweeted all the moves. I'll retweet it on our Twitter account, but all the moves that happened and all the waves that happened, dude, it's like reading a Lord of the Rings book. It's so long.
dude, and it's like you're trying to keep your all the little details. You're like, all right, there was cash considerations in this trade. There was a second round pick swap in this trade. It's like,
It's a
and
first round, first 15 protected, but then they also have one that's 20 protected. You're like, what? When did we start doing all this shit? That's always my biggest pet peeve. I'm gonna dunk on that actually. I'm gonna dunk on all the nonsense rounds and picks and protected top 10, protected top 15. Like, let's just do away with that and just give them the pick. Like, I don't need to have like all this like remember. I'm like, no, I don't. Like, I can't keep up with every team doing this. I barely remember what the Spurs are doing right now. So, like, I'm going to dunk on the trades that have the cash considerations and the first round protected top 5, top 10, whatever you. They always put that terminology in there. I think it's stupid. I'm like, just give rid of your first round pick. Stop being like halfway in, halfway out.
yeah, I agree. I agree with that. I think that kind of language did exist in contracts for a long time, but I feel like it became more public knowledge when a lot of the game became more socialized and everyone just wants to know everything. And
Yeah.
everything gets reported and people know how much money you make, and it's just it's a lot of yeah, but I agree. It's hard to keep up with, and it's a lot of details that, like, maybe maybe we don't need every single little bit of detail, but I'm a detail nerd. I like all the protected, unprotected picks and pick swaps. And is that a second round? What year is that going to be? Is this team going to be good in that year? I like
Do you,
that shit.
do you think some of the GMs get to like, let's say they have a top 10 protected pick in 2029 and they get there and they're like, wait, is that our pick?
Oh, dude. I can especially if you're a team like Oklahoma City a couple years back and you just have like this like treasure trough of picks and you're just like, "Oh, I like where did we get that one?" It's like, oh yeah, that's so and so's pick we got from that one trade. Oh yeah, we do have that pick. I
What did
forgot we had that one.
that Jared McCain one? That was what, like, was it 4 picks that they got rid of?
Let me find the detail.
Like
It
two?
was 2026 first round. I think
Yeah,
that it's,
fair.
it's probably going to be maybe high teens.
25,
Yeah, high
24.
teens, 20s. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. A 2027 second round pick, more like the most favorable between OKC or Houston. So it's like,
The
like,
details.
right, exactly. And then also two more additional second round picks. So it's like, really not a great get for Philadelphia when you look at mostly second round picks, but you know, still there's just a lot of details, a lot of stuff going into a lot of these trades, and that's a solid dunk.
Do you got anyone?
Um, I honestly I don't really have a dunk on the top of my head, but I did have some equipment failure, so I think I'm just gonna dunk on producers acting like if I just hover around you, I'm gonna make the problem go away, or I'm gonna somehow make the problem like speed up, or like I don't know. They're just like, hey, how can I help? I'm like, dude, if I teach you how to help me, then I'm going to take more time doing that. So just actually just step back and give me some space, dude. And so I'm
It's
just
like
going to
mind your
dunk.
business. That's all. Mind your business.
Just mind your business. Just mind your business. So I'm just going to dunk on some hands-on producers that need to be a little bit more hands-off, especially when it's like, dude, you see like equipment overheating. You see like there's like a cable malfunction, and it's like just let me make the change. Just let me, give me the five
Yeah.
10 minutes I need, and then we'll be back up. But yeah,
Good dunk.
absolutely. But yeah, so much trade deadline madness. There's a lot to get into. Like we were saying earlier, over 2 dozen trades over the last week or so. It's just most of them happening within the last 24 hours. Just a lot to unpack. If you were here and you listened to us unpack all of that, then we really appreciate you. We not only love you, but we love you hard over here.
Hard.
All of this is brought to you by Love You Hard TV, and we thank all of the wonderful people over at the In the Building podcast. Mike, Rudy, Jose, everyone over there. Shout out to them. They're goats. Make sure you're following them as well. But yeah, just a lot to unpack about all of the players moving spots. And usually we're up here talking Spurs hoops, but it's also great to, be here talking NBA trade deadline madness as well. So we just really thank you for being here, making this Baseline Bums community what it is. And yeah, just really thank you for making this just such a special place, whether you're watching the lives on YouTube, you're following along Apple Podcasts or the Instagram, the TikTok. We're making so many unique clips on the daily. Absolutely. Wherever you're following us, we really, really appreciate you for making the Baseline Bums podcast what it really is. So, just really
We'll be
shout out. You're the
on later
goats.
today.
Absolutely. That is a great point as well. We will be live again after the Spurs Mavs game, doing a post game recap. So if you want to join us again after the game, we will be on here
We'll be
again.
talking about both games from the Thunder and the Mavs. We were going to do one last night, but it was a late start and we were sleepy. So,
Well, I didn't think that we would need to really
yeah.
recap us playing a G League team, but apparently we do.
Yeah, we do. We got to talk about that. But
Right.
well, we got a 2-game series with the Mavs today and Saturday, so let's go out and get this one.
Absolutely. And we will be back talking after that game. So catch us for the post game episode. But yeah, we're going to end this episode the same way we end all episodes. And that's with a go
Go
Spurs
Spurs.
a go.
Go. Bring back the silver dancers.
Some trade